Today is the big day, a special election occurring in Wisconsin and California that could predict who will take the House come November. Will the Democrats maintain the House majority? Will Republicans win it back? It's hard to know for sure, but it seems to be leaning slightly in favor of Republicans based on certain perspectives. I know it's a weird thing to say, but according to polling data and fundraising data, it looks really bad for the Republicans. But based on more cultural issues and these special elections, it may actually be good for Republicans. It's hard to tell for sure, but what I can tell you is Democrats are on edge because they're actually projecting a loss in this. Again, we don't know for sure. By the time you watch this, the results may be out. But I want to talk about mail-in voting and some other issues that we're looking at, and we'll try and play some, whether or not we can predict what's going to happen in 2020 in November. The Hill reports Democrats are fearful that their grasp on a House seat in California they flipped less than 2 years ago may be slipping. The party is scrambling to hold on to California's 25th district in a special election set for Tuesday, when their candidate, State's Assemblywoman Christy Smith, will face off against Republican Mike Garcia for the seat previously held by Katie Hill. Public polling in the race has been scarce in recent weeks, though privately Democrats acknowledge that it's likely to be a nail-biter, and election handicappers have marked the contest as a toss-up. If Garcia defeats Smith on Tuesday, it will mark the first time a Republican has flipped a House seat in California since 1998. Now, what you got to consider is that Katie Hill flipped this with a 9-point victory over Steve Knight. Many of these Democrats won in moderate districts and Trump districts for a variety of reasons, notably anti-Trump sentiment. Donald Trump supporters didn't come out in enough numbers, and anti-Trump people did. So it's hard to know exactly what will happen come November with congressional seats. With Donald Trump on the ballot, him being more popular than when he was elected the first time with a larger base and with a track record of improving the economy, you may see all of his voters come out and check Republican across the board. But maybe people who showed up, the anti-Trump people, were showing up in similar proportions, meaning come November, the anti-Trump base may still be larger. What people don't seem to understand, or maybe they don't know, is that Hillary Clinton was so unpopular, like ridiculously unpopular, worse than Trump. That's why Trump won. Trump won by very thin margins in key states. We're now learning that apparently, Donald Trump is beating Joe Biden in Ohio. Something Bill Maher didn't think was possible. Bill Maher previously said, do I want Joe Biden to be president? No, but he's the only one that beats Trump in Ohio. Well, now, according to polls, Trump is winning in Ohio. That's really good news for Trump. So this may set the stage for what's going to happen. But there's a few very, very important factors here. So while we're projecting that a 9-point swing may be gone, I mean, it is gone. Whether or not Garcia or Smith wins, the lead is gone. We're seeing something interesting in the data. Check this out. This is from the Political Data Inc. 25th Congressional Special Tracker. Of the mail-in ballots so far, because they're doing mail-in ballots here, the youth vote has basically failed to turn out. Of the ballots that were sent to those 18 to 34, only 15% returned their ballots. That is seriously bad news. Now, Republicans are concerned that the big push for mail-in ballots will be essentially cheating for Democrats. They're changing the rules to try and get some advantage. But 538 says there's no clear advantage. In fact, it appears the advantage may actually be going to Republicans. Take a look at this. Republicans, 40% have returned their ballots to Democrats, 27%. And 20% of independents have returned their ballots, the lowest of the three, and that makes sense. I'm surprised Republicans haven't returned their ballots, only at around 40%. Today is apparently the last day you can do it. It has to be postmarked by today. And they're not getting the youth vote, which they need to win. Now, I don't know what that means necessarily. I should say, I can't predict the victor. What I can say is these votes tend to come in at the very last minute. And so there are still a few days where the data may come in. But what I do find particularly strange is this story from, this is the wrong story. There's a story from 538 that basically says they're projecting based on the special election, who wins, they could predict a blue wave. This is the story I want to show you. 2 special elections on Tuesday could hint at another blue wave in 2020. This story to me makes literally no sense, but I find it interesting. Will there be another blue wave? I don't think it's fair to say yes to that question. I think what we're looking at is potentially right now, the Democrats might maintain their majority. They might lose their majority, but it's going to be close. We don't really know for sure. What's interesting about this 538 article is that they basically argue that in both districts, they expect the Republicans to win, and that would be enough to prove a blue wave. And I'm like, isn't that enough to prove there would be a red wave? I mean, Katie Hill in California is about to lose a 9-point lead. Or I'm sorry, Katie Hill's 9-point lead. The Democrats are about to lose, not Katie Hill herself. She's gone. She resigned. The Democrats are about to have basically lost a 9-point lead, and polling suggests a Republican could win. If Donald Trump comes on the ballot and all his Trump supporters come out, stands to reason the Republican's going to win again. If the Democrats are going to lose this district, the Democrats believe it's not unique. Wouldn't that predict a major swing for Republicans? Also consider Jeff Van Drew in South New Jersey. Jeff Van Drew ran as a Democrat, and he won because of the anti-Trump sentiment. This dude flipped and became a Republican. Now we'll see if he actually wins, and I think he made the right choice. I could be wrong. He represents the district really close to me. I don't live in his district, but I think what he was looking at, these moderate districts wanted real issues solved. I bring this up all the time. And instead, these Democrats just went for impeachment. So I don't see how they think 2 losses could paint a blue wave. Let me read a little bit from this 538 article. They say former Vice President Joe Biden leads Trump in most early polls. Democrats are leading polls of the generic congressional ballot by 28 level margins. And general disapproval of the administration's handling of the coronavirus pandemic threatens to sink Republican prospects across the board. On Tuesday, we'll get a taste of whether Democrats' electoral advantage on paper will hold up in practice, as California and Wisconsin hold special elections for 2 vacant congressional seats. The main event is in the California 25th Congressional District, a bellwether seat in the North Los Angeles suburbs, where both parties see a chance to add to their ranks in the House. But if Democrats are also competitive in the quickly reddening rural Wisconsin 7th Congressional District, it could signal another blue wave in the fall. Here's everything you need to know about the 2 races. Now, I think it's a fair point, considering Wisconsin. This was where a Republican retired, and now a Republican is set to win. What they're arguing is if the Democrat in the 7th District in Wisconsin is competitive, it will predict there's a boon, a surge for Democrats. But I think it's kind of a strange thing to argue. It's a weird perspective to argue from. Sure, I think it's fair to bring up, but you could equally say something like in the headline, the special elections could hint at either a blue or a red wave. So you have these 2 districts, and they're arguing for the rarity, right? If the Democrats do well in a traditional red district, why would you think that's more likely than what we already know about Katie Hill's district? So here's the point I'm trying to make. In California, polling suggests the Democrats are losing. They've lost a major lead. That's significant. And in the 7th Congressional District in Wisconsin, it looks like it's going to stay Republican like it's been. That would suggest that the change is in favor of Republicans. Wouldn't that predict a red wave, and shouldn't that be your lead? The Democrats are worried because they know they stand to lose this lead. Wouldn't that suggest a coming red wave, not a blue wave? Well, of course, you can argue from 538's perspective, but I think it's disingenuous. I also think I could be wrong because I was wrong about 2018. I had no idea what I was talking about. Hey, how about that? I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong for sure. I thought the Republicans, for cultural reasons, were going to sweep in 2018. What I didn't count on was that Trump voters are Trump supporters, not Republican supporters. And there have been a lot of Trump supporters who are angry with Republicans, notably people like Lindsey Graham or Trey Gowdy, over their failure to fight back in the Russia conspiracy stuff. Lindsey Graham even today is saying that he's not necessarily, he doesn't expect to call Obama to testify or anything like that. A lot of details I don't want to get into, so forgive me if I'm getting them kind of wrong. The point is, Trump supporters like Trump. They care little, for the most part, for a lot of these other congressional or Senate Republicans. They like Trump. They want Trump. But I'll tell you what, man, you see, Trump said this, that if the Democrats take the House, they will impeach him. And he was right. It's exactly what they did. This is why I think there's actually a benefit for Republicans, aside from the data showing that Republicans are actually doing better. So it should suggest a red wave. You also have to consider the cultural ramifications in this instance. While I was wrong on what the cultural implications of 2018 would be, I think it's fair to say that you've got a lot of people who were fooled once. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If these people still think they're going to get kitchen table issues by voting for the Democrat in these moderate districts, they would be wrong. Now, of course, the anti-Trump people showed up in droves. That's what helped the Democrats win. But if they lose the people who feel like they were taken advantage of, independent voters, then they probably will not win. Thus, I think we're looking at a potential red wave from the data suggested so far. Also, when you consider that youth vote isn't turning out and the older vote is turning out, Republicans are turning out in bigger numbers, things can change. Republicans can lose this one. We may see a surge of the Democrats in this red district, but I will also stress in Wisconsin 7th, the reason I think 530 is wrong is they say if the Democrats are competitive, it could suggest a blue wave. Yeah, but Trump isn't on the ballot right now. It's a special election. What do you think's going to happen when Trump his name is big and bold? His supporters are going to come out in droves. That will change the game. I do not think 538 knows what they're talking about. I'll leave it there. Stick around. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.